Hi, and welcome back to Your Rabbi. I got a question today from Jonathan of Calgary, who's asking about the use of electricity on Shabbat and whether or not it should be permitted in this day and age. The question has a lot of history to it. It goes back to the early 19th, late 20th century, as electricity, and in particular electric light bulbs, were introduced into the general population. And rabbis at the time in Europe were forced to answer the question as to whether or not it was permitted on Shabbat. And the question that it really boils down to in the halakha is electricity fire? Fire is strictly forbidden on Shabbat, to be kindled on the Shabbat. So if you're going to say that yes, electricity is analogous to fire, then the use of electricity on Shabbat, turning on and on a light during Shabbat, would be forbidden. Of course, having a light on before Shabbat and leaving it on throughout the Shabbat would still be permitted. But it's not so easy to say yes, it's analogous to fire, because it needs to produce both light and heat in order to be considered fire halachically. So electricity can produce light and it can produce heat, but it doesn't behave the same way as fire does. It's very difficult to say whether electricity is actually fire. But the majority of Jews who keep Shabbat nowadays have practiced in such a way that forbids the use of electricity. There are some, however, and they go all the way back to the 19th century, where some Orthodox rabbis ruled that you can use electricity on Shabbat for things which are permitted on Shabbat, because electricity is not fire. Now, when I say things that are permitted on Shabbat, there are certain things that, no matter if you do them by hand or electrically, are not permitted on Shabbat, such as cooking, so a microwave oven, not allowed on Shabbat. Washing your clothes, you don't do on Shabbat, not allowed on Shabbat, right? Sewing, writing, posting Facebook statuses, it's not permitted on Shabbat still. So electricity could be permitted on Shabbat if you choose to define electricity as not halachically fire, but it doesn't mean you can use electricity for things which were forbidden anyway. So be aware of what you're saying yes to when you choose to follow Shabbat, and not just focus on what you're saying no to. So what you're saying yes to is a feeling of peace and a feeling of spiritual wholeness. Try going without electricity for 24 hours. You'll probably feel a lot better. That's the sense of holiness and fullness and peacefulness that the Shabbat is really there for. So with that, I wish you good Shabbos.